Hi and welcome to another GC Mysteries video, where this time we are looking at the ghost ship, the Mary Celeste. Okay, so this one is about the Mary Celeste, which is often referred to as the Mary Celeste. Now, it was an American merchant brigantine discovered adrift and deserted in the Atlantic Ocean off the Azores Islands on December the 4th, 1872. Now, the Canadian brigantine Di Gratia found her in a dishevelled but seaworthy condition, under partial sail and with her lifeboat missing. The last entry in the log of the Mary Celeste was dated 10 days earlier. Now, she had left New York City for Genoa on the 7th of November and was still amply provisioned when found. Her cargo of denatured alcohol was intact, and the captain's and crew's personal belongings were undisturbed. However, none of those who had been on board were ever seen or heard from again. And that is basically why this has become such a big topic, is because it was a brigantine, an American merchant that, you know, they found the boat but never found its crew. Now, the Mary Celeste was built in Spencer's Island in Nova Scotia and launched under British registration as Amazon in 1861. However, she was transferred to American ownership and registration in 1868 when she acquired her new name, the Mary Celeste. Thereafter she sailed uneventfully until her 1872 voyage. Now, at the salvage hearings in Gibraltar following her recovery, the court's officers considered various possibilities of foul play, including mutiny by Mary Celeste's crew, piracy by the Di Gratia crew or others, and conspiracy to carry out insurance or salvage fraud. However, no convincing evidence supported any of those theories, but unresolved suspicions led to a relatively low salvage award. Now, the inconclusive nature of the hearings fostered continued speculation as to the nature of the mystery, and the story has been repeatedly complicated by false detail and fantasy. And basically this happens if one person tells it to another person, then that person will tell the same story, but they'll add a little bit of extra detail, or they'll make it more mysterious, and then they'll do this, and it just goes on and on and on like that. So it really has been, it's not so much the Mary Celeste as it is its crew, whose remains have never been found either. Now, hypotheses that have been advanced include the effects on the crew of alcohol fumes rising from the cargo, submarine earthquakes, water spouts, attacks by a giant squid, and paranormal intervention. None of it alcohol fumes rising from the cargo maybe, but I don't think it would make all of its crew and personnel disappear. It might put them out for the count, but they'd still be there. And the alcoholic cargo was found intact, as was the Mary Celeste overhaul. Overall it was found intact, so attacked by a giant squid, if it was ripped apart maybe. Submarine earthquakes, maybe, but then I would still think that something would have happened to the Mary Celeste as well as its crew. It seems to have happened to its crew more than the Mary Celeste itself. Paranormal intervention. I am a believer in the paranormal, but we are talking in the 1800s when paranormal intervention would not have even been thought of, let alone believed. And water spouts, really, I still say no to that, really, for the same reasons, really. The boat itself was found overall intact. It was its crew and personnel that was missing and have never been found. It wasn't the boat. All of these hypotheses are more likely based on the Mary Celeste itself, aside from the one of alcohol fumes rising from the cargo and having effects on the crew. That is the only one that isn't actually aimed at the Mary Celeste. And the Mary Celeste, we are told, was found in a sailable, I don't mean for sale, I mean you could use it as a sailboat or etc, etc. So none of it really plays, none of it works really. But after the Gibraltar hearings, Mary Celeste continued in service under new owners, and that is something else, that the Mary Celeste continued in service under new owners. Well, had it been submarine earthquakes, water spouts, or attacked by a giant squid that had damaged the Mary Celeste and had an effect on the boat itself, the ship, it wouldn't have been able to continue in service under new owners. In 1885, her captain deliberately wrecked her off the coast of Haiti as part of an attempted insurance fraud. Well, they clearly got him for that one. Otherwise they wouldn't have known that he deliberately wrecked her off the coast of Haiti. The story of her 1872 abandonment has been recounted and dramatised many times in documentaries, novels, plays and films, and the name of the ship has become a byword for unexplained desertion. Now, in 1884, Arthur Conan Doyle wrote J. Habakkuk Jeffson's Statement, a short story based on the mystery but spelled the vessel's name as Mary Celeste. The story's popularity led to the spelling becoming more common than the original in everyday use. However, I don't see that because it's clearly known under its name of the Mary Celeste. But it's a very weird one. But its history, which was the keel of the future Mary Celeste, was laid in late 1860 at the shipyard of Joshua Dewis in the village of Spencer's Island on the shores of the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia. The ship was constructed of locally felled timber with 2 masts and was rigged as a Byzantine. She was cable built with the hull planking flush rather than overlapping, and she was launched on May 18th, 1861, given the name Amazon and registered at nearby Parsborough on the 10th of June 1861. Now, her registration documents described her as 99.1 feet or 30.3 meters in length, 25.5 feet or 7.8 meter broad, with a depth of 11.7 feet or 3.6 meters, and of 198.42 gross tonnage. Now, she was owned by a local consortium of nine people, headed by Dewis. Among the co-owners was Robert McClellan, the ship's first captain. Now, for her maiden voyage in June 1861, Amazon sailed to 5 islands to take on a cargo of timber for passage across the Atlantic to London. After supervising the ship's loading, Captain McClellan fell ill. His condition worsened and Amazon returned to Spencer's Island, where McClellan sadly died on the 19th of June. Now, John Nutting Parker took over as captain and resumed the voyage to London, in the course of which Amazon encountered further misadventures. She collided with the fishing equipment in the Narrows off Eastport, Maine, and after leaving London, ran into and sank a brig in the English Channel. Now, despite this, Parker remained in command for 2 years, during which Amazon worked mainly in the West Indies trade. She crossed the Atlantic to France in November 1861, and in Marseille was the subject of a painting, possibly by Honoré de Pellegrin, a well-known maritime artist of the Marseille school. Now, in 1863, Parker was succeeded by William Thompson, who remained in command until 1867. These were quiet years. Amundsen's mate later recalled that we went to the West Indies, England and the Mediterranean, what we call the foreign trade. Not a thing unusual happened. In 1867, in October, at Cape Breton Island, Amundsen was driven ashore in a storm and was so badly damaged that her owners abandoned her as a wreck. And on October the 15th, she was acquired as a derelict by Alexander McBean of Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. Now, within a month, he had sold the wreck to a local businessman, who in November 1868 sold it to Richard W. Haynes, an American mariner from New York. Haynes paid $1,750 for the wreck and then spent $8,825 restoring it. He made himself her captain and in December 1868 registered her with the Collector of Customs in New York as an American vessel under a new name, Mary Celeste. So, you know, some people will abandon things and some people won't. But it's got a weird history right from the start, really, but never really caught on. In its history, never really caught on until the abandonment by its crew and personnel. Now that is a weird, always will be a weird situation, because it has never been found. There no remains, no nothing have ever been found of these crew members. All we know is that they disappeared. Now, it is very weird. It's one, though you always hear of the Titanic, you don't always hear of the Mary Celeste. I know the Titanic is a lot more tragic, but you know, did the crew die? Was it piracy? We don't know. But it's definitely a weird one. I have to say that. Now, it was always going to be a weird one. But it did get commemorations in its lifetime on the sea. It did leave a legacy. We all know its legacy, but it did leave one, and we carry on with the ships of today. But if you want to learn more, just search. Thank you for watching this GC Mysteries video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe and click the notification bell. If you can, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/GC Mysteries. See us on Facebook and Twitter, GC Mysteries, and bye bye for now.